Hi, this is Peter Seibel, and I'm doing a quick screencast on a new tool that I wrote in Lisp called Manifest. So Manifest is a sort of automatic, semi-automatic documentation tool for browsing the contents of doc strings. So I will demonstrate here. I'm in Emacs. I'll start Slime. I already have Quick Lisp installed. I assume all good Lispers now have it installed, so I can say quick load manifest. And I've actually done this before, so it's already compiled all the dependencies, so this is faster than it would be the first time you do it. But you would see a bunch of stuff, and then you would see that, and now I type manifest start, and it gives me a URL with a port, you can see, chosen randomly by the OS. I can use the Emacs browse URL function. That's the URL I want. Takes me in my browser to the main page of Manifest, which basically shows all of the packages. I believe I managed to make it not show some that have no documentation whatsoever. And so these are just the packages that are loaded into my system. So you can see it's basically got Manifest is in here somewhere, and various things that it uses, plus all the stuff that comes from Quick Lisp and SBCL. So we'll take a look at Manifest. This documentation is generated automatically from this bit comes at the beginning, comes if there's a README file in the same directory as the ASD file, it dumps it in there. Then the rest is doc strings from symbols that are exported by the package. So this is all package-based tool. Manifest is the package. It exports two symbols, start and stop, and they are bound as function names, so it looks for the function documentation and it finds it. And so here's the documentation for the start function that we just used. It also shows some other information about the package, such as what packages it uses. And so we can see it's built on Toot, which is the web server that I'm working on, which is a stripped down version of Toot. So Toot is also, actually I wrote Manifest basically so I could make sure I was documenting Toot some level. In this case it's showing, so this is the package Toot. This is actually the doc string for the package, and then here's the README from the README file. And then this one has more stuff in it. It exports a lot of symbols. So first we see all the function names with their documentation. And then generic functions are broken out separately. Slot accessors are broken out separately. Variables, so these are symbols that are exported and which are bound, not f-bound. So you see basically all the globals. Classes are broken out, conditions are broken out, and then constants. And so Toot has a whole bunch of constants for the HTTP return codes. And then we get to the bottom, you can see it's used by Manifest, and it uses these things. And you can see that the obviously the used by and uses would change if you loaded more packages that use them. This is only showing the state of your current image. We can look at Puri. Has a nice big fat README, but very few doc strings. So this is what it looks like if you look at a package that has no docs. So they would need to put some doc strings in to get those docs to show up. One trick that I actually use in Toot, if you look in the source of Toot, is I have a file, which I can probably find here. Oh no, not as this user, sorry. I have a file that contains all of the, I guess I can, dists, Quicklisp, software, Toot, documentation.lisp, where separate from the actual code, I just set up documentation of a bunch of stuff that I didn't, for whatever reason, want to put in the code. And I was just experimenting with that. So that's basically Manifest. It is also interesting as an example of how to use Toot for a sort of simple server. Toot is my stripped down version of Toot, and it's not a full featured web server, like a user-friendly web server. It's more of a low-level framework. I stripped out a lot of stuff from Toot and was left with a very simple thing, I think. And Manifest is built on top of that. Another project that I'm working on is Whistle, shown here, which is a more full-featured web server, though it's still sort of experimental, which is also built on Toot. So both of those two, if you want to know more about Toot, which some people have asked about, you can look at Manifest as an example of a simple server built directly on Toot, and Whistle as a sort of end-user usable web server that's also built on Toot. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to email me, peter@gigamonkeys.com. You can also at me on Twitter or follow me or whatever you want to do, Peter Seibel on Twitter. So hopefully that gives you a little clue what you can do with Manifest, and I'm eager to hear what you think. Thank you.